Oh man, what should I get in this refrigerator today? Oh my gosh, that door is like really hot, kind of like my wife. But that's really going to cause a lot of issues in the future if I leave it this way. So I better fix what's going on here. The door, not my wife. Today, let's solve the problem of a door in a refrigerator getting super hot. Usually it's not going to be on the refrigerator side, it's actually going to be on the freezer side, and it could get to temperatures between 100 and 120 degrees Fahrenheit. You could have a hazard with your hand being burnt, but really it's going to cause a whole lot more problems if you don't fix it. Now, you'd think, oh, it's something wrong with this door up front, but to really fix the problem, we need to get behind the refrigerator and take a look underneath to see what's going on. So let's go ahead and pull the fridge out and see what's behind it.
Likely your refrigerator is going to look different than this Whirlpool that we have, but at the bottom and rear of the refrigerator, there's going to be key components that we want to look at.
Underneath, we want to look at these coils that are behind this cardboard panel. Some refrigerators have metal panels, other ones have cardboard, and behind this are what we think should be the problem with this heating issue. So let's go ahead and take a screwdriver and open it up. There's different kinds of hex heads on these. Usually they're 1/4 inch, sometimes they're 5/8. And we just want to simply take a screwdriver and take this panel off and see what we can find.
One thing to immediately note when taking off the rear panel is the air intake on the right side where the water valve is, at least on this model. The configuration varies from fridge to fridge, but you want to make sure that the air holes here are free and clear of dirt, debris, pet hair, or anything else, as this can jam the airflow. When this panel is removed, you want to inspect everything behind the panel, and the arrangement will be different from fridge to fridge. On this one, there is no black condenser coils on the back, and the main components are the compressor, the condenser fan, and the water valve, although that one wouldn't cause this issue. One of the first things to troubleshoot is the condenser fan. Is it running and is it in good operation? On this one, you can tell it's going bad because it's making a terrible noise. You want to make sure that this is clean and free to move. It should basically run at all times when the refrigerator is on, and if it is not running, you need to replace it immediately. You can use any other type of makeshift fan to provide cool, fresh air until you get a new condenser fan installed as well. The key component, though, we want to look at this model are the black condenser coils that are behind this compressor. From the back, we can see the coils are somewhere near the front and at least a slightly clean on this side, but the cabinet overall has a lot of dirt that needs to be vacuumed off to make sure air flows well.
We checked the rear of the refrigerator on this particular model and found the condenser fan, the compressor, and then the air intake or outtake on that bottom back panel. Most refrigerators, though, unlike this one, you'll find the condenser coils in the rear of the refrigerator. But in some cases like this one, the condenser coils are actually on the front and in the middle. So we're going to have to remove the access panel underneath and get to those to see how dirty they are, how damaged they are. So let's go ahead and do that now on this particular Whirlpool model.
Note that some of these panels may have screws on the side, and also make sure that in the process of cleaning, you don't forget to make sure the panel is free of dirt and debris, just like the rear panel we inspected earlier. With the panel off, we can see the black condenser coils now, and this is definitely the main problem on this refrigerator. It is typically the culprit on most other refrigerators as well. Removing the dirt on the coils should help resolve this situation pretty fast. But why are these coils such a problem? Well, they are supposed to help reject heat from the refrigerator, and when clogged with dust or dirt or debris, they can't do that. Most modern refrigerators have these coils inside the door of the refrigerator to help keep moisture off the doors in what is called a Yoder loop. This was developed by an Amish refrigeration technician by the name of Yoder. The Amish use propane refrigerators despite shunning fancy things like electricity. The rest of the world adopted the idea of the Yoder loop due to energy efficiency, and this is why your refrigerator's door could get hot. It's ejecting all the heat in your door instead of the black coils, or it's not circulating air well enough to push it away from the refrigerator.
So far, we've gone over 3 different things on this refrigerator to try to figure out why the door could get hot. We've looked at the condenser fan, the condenser coils, as well as the inflow and outflow of air through the refrigerator. These 3 are the primary reasons that a refrigerator like this would have hot doors. The other 2 things you want to look out for on this refrigerator would be to make sure that there's enough room on both the sides of the refrigerator as well as the top of the refrigerator and behind the refrigerator so that there's enough airflow around the machine to exchange waste heat. The manufacturers of most refrigerators suggest 1 inch behind the refrigerator and then about 1/2 inch on each side and then another 1/2 inch on the top of the refrigerator. Sometimes this makes it kind of non-optimal for your space, but make sure you have a clearance as much as possible to ensure that that airflow works pretty well. Now, if none of these things work and you are at your wit's end, there's one last thing that could cause this problem, and it's really not something that you can do as a DIYer unless you're feeling really frisky. The last thing on this could be that your refrigerant is low on the refrigerator. Remember, the whole point of this is that if the refrigerant can't change from vapor to liquid fast enough, the exchange happens here in the doors. And if you can't get enough refrigerant, it's going to make that exchange here no matter how clean the refrigerator is in the back. And when that phase change happens here, it's going to get very hot. So again, you could look at the refrigerant level and make sure there's enough refrigerant in it to make the phase change at the rear of the refrigerator where the coils are rather than up here. But if that was the issue, then you're going to have other problems with this refrigerator, like it's not going to cool properly in the freezer or possibly the refrigerator. You could be looking at soft ice cream, which would tell you it's probably above 20 degrees Fahrenheit and is getting ready to stop freezing. You could fix that with some refrigerant, but you want to leave that usually to the professionals. And that's everything I can think of for this type of situation. It's kind of rare, but in the case of this refrigerator, we did solve the problem of it getting too hot. Now, I didn't fix the problem with my wife because she's still hot as fudge.